Thank you for choosing Kennelite. This instructional video looks at invoicing, open, closed, and some common invoice corrections. It also looks at reports that may help with reconciliation.
Once an appointment is checked in and all the services are performed, the next step is to check the appointment out. To check the appointment out, go to today's list in the grooming section, find today's date, find the appointment. You can do a right click, check out on the appointment, or you can select the appointment and left click on the checkout icon. Once checked out, the services will appear bold in history. Once the pet has been checked out and the services are bold in history, it is time to post the charges to the invoice. To post charges to an invoice, you can left click on the post icon in the account section on the main toolbar in the main window, or you can select your F12 key. When history is posted, it is posted into an open invoice. When an invoice is open, additional services may be posted to this invoice. Payments may be taken for this invoice, and adjustments can be made. Once an invoice is closed, no further corrections or adjustments or additions can be made. While an invoice is open, if a service has been incorrectly posted to the open invoice, it can be removed and it will be bold in history once more. To remove this service, I'm going to do a right click, delete on the service in the open invoice. Once I do this and I say yes, notice it has disappeared from the invoice window. It is once again bold in history. Since the grooming charge should be posted to invoicing, I'm going to repost it, places it back on the open invoice, and gives me my total. Now I wish to take payment for the charge. The customer has decided to pay in cash. I'm going to left click on the cash payment icon. If the customer chooses a different method, I can always choose a different selection. The amount is correct, and I can say OK. After the customer or account holder pays in cash, they decide they wish to pay with a MasterCard instead. So while the invoice is still open, I can do one of two things. I can open the cash line, I can change the payment type to MasterCard and say OK, or I can do a right click, delete on the payment line. I can say yes to remove it, and then I can re-enter it appropriately. To show another situation, I'm going to remove the MasterCard payment. Since this is still an open invoice, once the grooming charge has been posted to the invoice, we discover we need to do an adjustment for the account holder or the client. We left click on the adjustment button. In the amount, we indicate that we wish to do a negative $2 adjustment. We say OK. Adjustments are shown in red on the invoice window. Another situation that we could look at, I'm going to remove the account adjustment since this is still an open invoice. It is when I post the grooming charge to the invoicing window, I realize that the amount should not be $30, but the amount indeed should be $25. So to correct this on the open invoice, I'm going to do a right-click delete on the grooming code. It will rebold it in history. In history, I can do a right-click change or F9, make the appropriate price change, say OK. Then I can repost the grooming code to the invoice. The amount is now correct. I am going to re-add the negative $2 adjustment. And then I am going to take a cash payment. Once all the corrections and additions have been made to the open invoice, you can then close the invoice. Once an invoice is closed, no corrections or adjustments can be made on the invoice. Left click on the Close Invoice button. You can then print the invoice, or you can preview the invoice. And then you can say OK. If we go back and preview this invoice once more, you will see the $2 account adjustment is shown. Also, the star by the charges indicate how much was applied in discounts. Since we changed the amount of the grooming service in history by $5, it indicates that there are $5 in discounts. Now to look at another situation. In this situation, the customer, our account holder, has purchased a grooming service. We are in a situation now where we need to return the money for the grooming service. The invoice that the grooming service was posted is already closed. To remedy this situation, we would go back to the pet's history. We would do a right-click, New, or F4. We would choose Groom. In the quantity, we would put -1 because we are returning the services rendered. We're also going to adjust the price back to $25 because the original price was $25. We're going to put a negative sign in front of the quantity and make sure that the negative sign is in front of the price. We say OK, and then we cancel out of another history window. We click Post. When we hit Post, it's going to show in red because it is a negative amount. We are actually going to give the account holder or the customer cash back. So we are going to left click on the cash icon. In the amount, we are going to put -$25.75, which is the balance that is due at the bottom of the screen. We're going to say OK. And then once we close this invoice, the transaction will reverse the original one. Now let's take a closer look at open invoices. Open invoices are invoices that are not yet closed. Open invoices can have new services and items posted to them. Payments can be changed and adjustments can be made. A reason for an open invoice would be if you were going to post services or items to an invoice, but the customer was going to pay later. Also, on an open invoice or in posting, it is good to note that if you have more than one pet on a customer, all charges for all pets will be posted to an open invoice when you click the post button. As an example, we have Juniper, who has a starfish fetch in history. We also have Snoopy, who has a rope chew in history. Even though I'm highlighted on Snoopy, if I left click on the post icon in the account section or I do an F12, both items, the one for Snoopy and also the one for Juniper, are posted to an open invoice in accounting. If I say OK, it closes the window, but it asks me, do I wish to leave the invoice open? I want to say yes. Snoopy and Juniper are going to have additional charges later. If I want to preview what is on the open invoice, I can go to the open invoice line in the invoice section. The invoice is shown with a number of 0 because it is still open. If I do a double left click on it, I can see the items or services that are on the open invoice. I can even print the open invoice. I'm not going to print it right now, but it is an option. If you wish to view a closed invoice to reprint, go to the Invoices section on the account holder and you can select the previously closed invoice that you wish to reprint. If you double left click on it, it will open the invoice window and you can left click on Print or Preview. You cannot add anything to this closed invoice, but you can reprint it. When working with invoices, whether they be open invoices for one day, open invoices that stretch a period of days, or closed invoices that have no payment added to them, a good tool to use is the reports. To find the reports, you would like to go to the Tools tab from the main window, left click on the Reports button. The report we are going to look at is an aged trial balance. Select the aged trial balance, choose your day as of date, and then say Preview. When looking at this report, account number 14 is the one that we've been demonstrating on. They currently have 2 toys that are on an open invoice that has not been closed and there has been no payment added to the account. Notice in their balance section there is an asterisk. The asterisk indicates that an open invoice was found or an invoice which partially falls within the as of date was found. An invoice which partially falls within the as of date is an open invoice that goes on for a period of more than 1 day. And one of those days falls partially within the report you are running, part of the days fall out of the time period for the report that you are running. An open invoice is the invoice that we've been working with where we're adding charges on it, but we just haven't accepted payment yet today. Account holder number 5 does not have an asterisk next to their balance. This indicates that there was a closed invoice on the account, but no payment was taken. This could be a factor if your kennel has account holders or customers that come in on a daily or weekly basis. They would like their invoices closed out on a daily or weekly basis, but then they like to pay you on a monthly basis. Another report to look at while trying to balance the invoicing and bank deposits is the deposit slip. To view the deposit slip, you go to the Tools tab and then the Reports icon. Left-click on Deposit Slip. Choose your date range. For example, I am going to choose the month of January. In reality, you would probably run this every day. I'm going to preview. When I preview, it shows the first section as the total cash took in. It also shows the total refunds for the time period. The next section shows the total checks that were taken and how much they add up to and the actual check count. This gives you your total deposit for the checks and the cash. Underneath will list each credit card payment in the credit card section. Then the total payments will total the credit cards and the total deposit from the checks and the cash for the time period that was selected. An additional invoicing tool is the Unposted Accounts Report. The Unposted Accounts Report shows any account that has history that is still bold and not yet posted to an invoice. To show, we are going to give Shelly a new toy. We want to do a right-click New. We are going to add a rope chew into Shelly's account and say OK. We're going to cancel out of the new history window. And now we are going to run our report. This report will show all pets with history that is still bold. You can review the report and see if the history is supposed to be unposted and not on an invoice, or if it needs to be posted. This report shows the toy that we gave Shelly.